Hello, it's very early on Tuesday the 3rd of December 2024, and you join me on what might be the last VSET I ever take up the central coastline. This is also one of the few times I've travelled all the way to Newcastle Interchange, and that's because the first ever new intercity Mariyungs DSET service leaves from there in a few hours. The operating pattern today is a bit confusing, as the DSET is substituting for the return trip normally made by the VSET we came in on. It left Kangiangi Depot for Gosford before reversing up to Newcastle ahead of the VSET, arriving in Newcastle Interchange on platform 3. It then shunted into Hamilton Yard whilst the VSET arrived and departed again from platform 2, running empty all the way to Flemington, reversing at Strathfield. The DSET then arrived back on platform 2 to form the first revenue service back to Sydney. It operated all of the following runs normally tabled for the original VSET. From Wednesday the 4th, the full daily diagram of this VSET will be run with DSETs, eliminating this wasteful switch. I reckon they did it today to have the Newcastle Presso at a more reasonable time. This is the full operating pattern of DSETs at the time of editing. Note that this will continue to change very quickly. Having now ridden on a DSET, I'll run through their features. Bear in mind that I wrote this section whilst still on board, using the tray table and power outlets, both features that are sorely needed on intercity trains. If I can write this script, you can get some work done, read a book, watch a show, or do anything else really. The seats are slightly firmer than VSETs, but around the same as a well-maintained HSET seat. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually find them really comfortable. They are surprisingly well moulded and are just the right balance of upright and slightly reclined. The headrests are comfortable too. The wings are slightly harsh, but I could see myself sleeping against them if I was tired enough. I've mentioned before that I don't care much for reversible seats, and the proper moulding and other features I'll get to in a second definitely makes up for it in my opinion. I sat facing backwards all the way from Newcastle to Sydney with no problem at all. The legroom is actually very good in the airline style seats, but not so much in the facing seats. The tray tables, whilst being a good feature, are certainly not the largest I've seen on trains before. My small laptop does fit, however it can't fully open without hitting the seat in front. To get around this, I rested it on its case slightly off the front of the tray table. It's not ideal, but it's much better than nothing. They do have small indents to hold cups in, but these won't fit with a laptop. They are, however, made of metal, not plastic, and I heard a rumour, you'll be hearing lots more, that they can take the weight of a person jumping on them. Both the USB-A charger and 240 volt outlet work for now. Cynics reckon these will be a top target of vandals, but I hope they're wrong. These are very nice features to have on journeys of this length. They're not the fastest chargers in the world, but they do work, and considering many passengers will travel on these trains for over an hour, the speed doesn't really matter too much anyway. The onboard screens are LCD displays and seemingly switch between a featured video, the destination, upcoming stops with times, information about the next stop, and locations of bike racks, toilets, luggage, and spare seats on board. The DVA announces, in succession after leaving a station, the line and destination, all stops.
This is a Central Coast and Newcastle line service to Central, stopping at Cardiff.
The next stop, a few times, and, new for trains, the side that the doors open on.
This stop is Hamilton. Use doors on the left in the direction of travel.
The announcements are a good volume, not being annoyingly loud, but still audible. They are, however, lacking in clarity. Guard announcements on my train were much quieter than automatic ones, almost too hard to hear. The external screens, which I'm very happy they include, display the destination, line, next stop, and cycle through the onboard locations and space available. All middle cars have luggage stacks downstairs. There are no overhead racks anywhere on the train, and no luggage spaces at all on the end cars. No racks is a bit of a negative. It's nice to have a space to throw smaller items so they're not on your lap. I ended up putting my bag on the tray table. The trailer cars of these trains are very quiet, like seriously quiet. Even at speed, I measured around 50 decibels in the quiet carriages, which were full too. The suspension is great, leading to only a few vibrations, particularly over rough track or point work. I stood next to a gangway for quite a while, and the bouncing looked very violent, but was actually hard to feel. The yaw, or side-to-side motion, was a bit problematic at speed though, but nothing unbearable. The trains have a dark aesthetic inside, with various shades of grey used throughout. This helps create a sense of refinement on what is otherwise essentially a slightly upgraded Waratah. The accessible toilets are fairly standard. Obviously, being new trains, they are much cleaner than those on H-sets. I can't speak for the ambulant toilets, as they are only found in 6-car sets. Each set, 4 or 6 car, has 3 bike racks in one vestibule. These store bikes vertically, which is not ideal and can damage bikes if used for long periods, but it does create more space. They look pretty secure and can fit wide tyres. Electric bikes can be a bit more precarious with their extra weight. The coat hooks are located on the outward-facing side of seats, as opposed to V-sets where they are located in between the windows. This means every seat has a hook. I can't imagine them seeing much use except possibly in the Blue Mountains in winter. Pictograms built into the livery show the location of the accessible and ambulant toilet, dedicated luggage area on 6-car sets only, and bike storage, making it easier to see where these are located from the platform. Now is a good time to discuss train consists. For the foreseeable future, trains will run as 8-car sets, formed of 2 4-car D0 subclass units, having a DD driving trailer with 2 wheelchair bays, a DN motor with 2 wheelchair bays in each vestibule and a downstairs luggage stack, a DND motor with an accessible toilet in one vestibule, downstairs luggage stack and storage for 3 bikes in the other vestibule, and a DDA driving trailer with 2 wheelchair bays. The 6-car D1 subset slots in a DNL motor with 2 wheelchair bays, a downstairs luggage stack, and a non-accessible ambulant toilet, and a DT trailer with 2 wheelchair bays, downstairs luggage stack, and a luggage stack in the vestibule. Now let's go back and compare this to the features of the V-sets. These trains are up to 47 years old, although many are younger than that, as they were ordered in many batches with much difference between them. In fact, the oldest Tangara is older than the youngest V-set. They lack the amenities passengers demand of modern trains, but they do still have coat hooks, footrests, luggage stacks, luggage racks, toilets, although very small and very disgusting, bike racks, and are quite comfortable. However, they do not have passenger information screens, any accessibility features, or wide or even powered doors. You need to slide them open manually. The trains currently operate weekday peak services on the Central Coast and Newcastle line between Central and Newcastle Interchange, and all-electric Blue Mountains line services between Central and Lithgow. They previously serviced the South Coast line as far as the end of the wires at Kiama, but have since been removed from this route, apparently due to excess rusting from the sea spray. These trains are due to be replaced by Mariyungs on the Central Coast and Newcastle line from today onwards, with a few sets being removed each week. There's no word on when they will be removed from the Blue Mountains line, but I've heard rumours the South Coast is next in line, with the Blue Mountains allegedly getting Mariyungs in 2026. As for the H sets, they'll eventually be displaced from Central Coast and Newcastle and South Coast services once all V sets are retired, when they'll be moved to Hornsby Depot to run services on Sector 3, T1 and T9, allowing Tangaras on this sector to be displaced again to Sector 1, T4, and some Waratahs displaced to Sector 2, all other suburban lines, to allow the retirement of the K sets. The Oscars will have their toilets removed, but they might retain their luggage racks. A separate project is replacing the life-expired train management system, I think, which involves fitting new LCD displays. I've also heard that this will allegedly be finished by the end of the year. The D sets are, in my opinion, nice trains. They are certainly an upgrade on H sets, and dare I say they rival the V-sets too. They're pretty comfortable, have all the features expected of a modern train, are accessible, have bike storage, and introduce numerous safety benefits, particularly around short platforms. Perhaps the only thing I would change about these trains are the doors. As these trains don't have vestibules, unlike V-sets, the climate control has to work hard after stations. In summer, for example, all the cool air is able to escape. Originally, doors were planned to be passenger operated, i.e. only open if someone pressed the open button. This was demanded to be changed by the union and is no longer a feature. I would also like to see racks fitted above the seats and onboard Wi-Fi, which is a possible future feature. The trains actually have private Wi-Fi networks at the moment. I'll leave you with another rumour. I overheard the regional transport minister telling someone that ETCS trackside would be installed to allow the trains to run at their design speed of 160 km per hour. They are maintained for that, and there are lots of places where those speeds are achievable, on top of the few locations where 160 speedboards exist already. No word on any time frame though. Thanks for watching this special video. As I mentioned in a community post, I'll be travelling overseas until the end of the year, so after this video there'll be another video essay coming this Sunday, then an extended break. I might post clips of various railways on my trip, but nothing substantial. I'll see you all after Christmas.